Okay, so how much does it cost to actually start a lead generation business, a rank and rent digital real estate business? The answer is not enough. And the reason that I say that, I'm going to get into the actual specifics and the dollar amounts and just kind of rough estimations, but it's not enough. And the reason that I say that is if it was this is a very low barrier to entry business. It doesn't cost a lot of money, especially when you compare it to physical real estate. You look at the returns, you look at the recurring revenue, you look at the scalability, you look at all the benefits that come from this business model. The reason why I believe it should cost more, and if it did cost more, people would be more successful, is because they don't have enough skin in the game. And so I jokingly, half jokingly say it's not enough, because literally anyone watching this video can find the money to start this business. And I believe that is part of the problem. We get a lot of people that come in, they dip their toe in the water, they try this, but they don't actually really do this business model. And that's why they're not successful. They don't have to be successful. And I always say this to people. If you were gonna start a Jimmy John's, right, or a McDonald's, let's talk about a McDonald's. I think last time I checked, you need $1.2 million cash, or $1.2 million of liquid accessible cash to start a McDonald's. And you might break even by like whatever, 2 years, 18 months, 3 years, 5, I don't even know what it is, but it sure isn't in the first 90 days. And so when you do something like that, you go and you get your cash. Everybody knows about it. You have to hire employees, you have to have insurance, you have to have all your pieces in place, and you have to make it work. And because of that, you make it work. Now, obviously they have systems, and obviously it's a franchise. And I understand like McDonald's is maybe a little bit of not a great example, but any of those franchises, you need like cold hard cash. And that's why people are successful. That's why you see so many successful, because the people that do it are serious. They're like, I am going to do this. I just barely looked at one of my buddies has a tanning franchise, a tanning salon franchise. And he's like, dude, you should look in your area and blah, blah, blah. And I started talking to his like country director, and we started going through the numbers, and he's telling me, he's like, hey, I broke even by year 2, whatever, which is insane. And we started looking at it, and I'm like, okay, so what are we looking at? Like bottom line, to build it out, to acquire the existing, whatever it is. And we're looking at like 650, 750K. And I'm like, and the numbers made sense. It looked like we could break even by year 2 or 3, which is great. It's another stream of income, whatever. But when you compare it to this business, it's a ton of money. And I'm like, if I do that, I have to have it. It has to be successful, it has to. So it's not enough. That's the number one thing I want to say. It is not enough. And if it cost you more money, you'd be more successful. More people would be more successful because they'd have more skin in the game. And that would mean the people that weren't serious wouldn't jump into the game. However, the good news is it doesn't cost a lot, okay? Here's what you need. If you do the business model, if you want to do it the antiquated way, which is you pick a city, you pick a niche, you go and build, it's actually gonna cost you more money before you get your first client. Contrary to what everybody tells you. Contrary to the people that sell a program that teaches you the old school antiquated way. You are gonna be more money into it. So here's what your costs are. You're gonna have your tracking number. You're gonna be $5 to $10, $15 for that, okay, per month. You're gonna have your hosting. You're gonna have that hosting, it depends on what you use. If you're using a service like Weebly, I think hosting's like $13 a month. Obviously, some of you WordPress people are like, oh, that's expensive. Who cares? It's not that much money. 13, 15, 2, whatever it is, the 10, $15, you can count it for that. So now we're at $30 per month, right? You have to pay for your domain. That's relatively cheap, 13, $20 a year. So, per month, it's like $2, let's say $2 a month. You're going to pay for your content up front, or you're going to do it, right? And sometimes people forget that, like, even though you can write the content, that does cost you time. And so for me, I wouldn't write the content at this point because I have content writers and it's just not a good use of my time. But you're going to have to write the content, which means whatever your hourly rate is, if you're $20 an hour and it takes you 10 hours to write content, there's a $200. You're going to need to have a little bit of a budget for some images, right? You can go find free images, but you might need to buy some images and maybe a software tool, okay? There's some different ones out there. You're maybe $50 to $100 a month, okay? That's what you're gonna be looking at. Now you need to take those monthly charges, and need to times them by 6, 9, or 12, because that's what it's gonna take before you even are gonna think about getting leads. You also have to consider backlinks. Like, the biggest thing that people forget when they're looking at how much this costs is their time. And that's what you're gonna be spending. And not only that, but you're gonna look at your opportunity cost. If you could be getting money today instead of waiting 6 months, how much money are you actually spending? That's what you're gonna be spending if you do it the slow way. Now, if you do it the way I do it, which is the rent first, rank later, here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a tracking number, which is gonna cost you the same, $5 to $15, but you're not gonna need it for multiple months. You're gonna need it for minimum of 1 month, okay? Maximum of 1 month, actually. And you're gonna need to spend a little bit of money on ads. Now, that the ads could cost you $50, could cost you 150. If it takes you a couple tries, it could cost you $500. Somebody goes, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, first of all, that's still less than you would have paid over the course of 6 months, okay? But here's the key, is that if you get that deal, if you don't quit, even if you hit $500 of ad spend, you get a $1,000 deal, you make your money back that day. You make your money back that day, plus you make money, plus you double your money. So actually, you made it all back immediately, right? And then the beautiful part is now you have a credit card on file. Now you can go and, with the website, with the domain, with all those things, you paid for all the money that you already spent. And now you're using their money to build out your asset. So guys, either way that you do it, first of all, I think if you're doing it the slow way, you are crazy. You should go and study Blockbuster. You should go see what happened to them, and they didn't change. Go look at what Netflix has done. You're absolutely crazy. Because if I said to you, hey, you could build a house, and this house over here, you could use somebody else's money to build it. And by the way, you can also make cash flow. Or the other option is you can use your money to, buy the dirt and do the material, blah, 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 blah. And you could also, who wouldn't want to use someone else's money, right? The people that are saying that you shouldn't do the fast way, we shouldn't do rent first, rank later, are the people that are selling a program that don't know how to teach freaking the fast way because they don't know how to do it because they're not in the game, okay? And that's the reality. But either way, this business does not cost that much. Now, what I would tell you is that if you think that you're going to get in and you're going to watch this one YouTube video and you're like, I'm going to set up some ads and I'm going to make money. Good luck, okay? Good luck. I've spent $1.5 million on ads at the time of this recording, maybe 1.45. I've gone in 200 of the wrong cities and niches. I've hired and fired the wrong people. I went $60,000 in debt. I've made all the mistakes. I've all the things. And you look at me and go, hey, you made millions of dollars. And then you go and you run ads one time and you wonder why you're not just crushing it, okay? So keep in mind, on top of all that money I spent, I've spent, close to $30,000 in programs. I've spent mentoring, different events, all these different things that all contributed to my success. So, when we're talking about bare bones, what it costs, those are your hard costs. But what I would have you consider is you have to look at it. What about all the things that you don't know? What about all the mistakes you're going to make? What if at the time you spent ads on the wrong niche and wrong city that you could have avoided if you would have been in somebody's group that would have literally shown you exactly which niche and which city to go into and would have shown you the due diligence process. So those are the hard costs. What I did, you don't have to do this. You can go and touch the stove yourself and see what I'm saying. But what I did when I wanted to jump into this business model is I found somebody that was doing it. I found somebody that had achieved an income level that I thought I wanted to achieve, and they had a program. I got on a call, and I bought the program. And that saved me a lot of time. Guess what? I still had things I didn't know. I still had to go and make the mistakes. And that was with the program. And I ended up buying, I think, 3-4 of those before I ever even got to a point where I felt like I was making money. So keep in mind, these are the hard costs. However, I think you would be crazy to not look at it and go, okay, these are the hard costs, but what about all the mistakes I'm going to make? What are those going to cost me? And could I avoid them? The answer is yes. But some people, they want to say, oh, I watched a YouTube video and I'm in Nick's free group and I'm just going to go try this on my own. And then they're pissed that they're not at $10,000 within 90 days or 6 months. It's like, well, the reality is some of us actually put in the time, put in the effort, put in the money, bought the programs, did the mentoring, and it still took years. But that's why we're at millions of dollars. So guys, this is how much it costs to start a local lead generation business, AKA a digital real estate business. I'm out.